Welcome folks, this is Wear and Tear, yet another outdoor and gear review channel. Today I want to focus on three knives in the Tanto blade shape. The well-known Recon 1 in Aus 8, so cold steel Recon 1. The Crkt rescue knife, the M16, a little bit the older version in Aus 8. And then there is a new Crkt M16 in 14ZLEK steel. This is a frame lock, and this has a liner lock with a auto lock system. So basically there's a secondary lock that automatically engages when the blade is deployed. And this is the Recon 1 with the well-known Triad Lock. Now this is my newest acquisition. The older M16, I have tested it, did a lot of hard testing on the M16. It held up great. I cut sheet metal with it, I beat the heck out of it, batoning and everything, and I was able to completely restore it afterwards. The only thing is I broke a part of the auto locks, this little bolt. I could replace it. I haven't found a fitting bolt yet, but the knife is perfectly intact. Now this is the new M16 with the frame lock. So also a flipper. Yeah, it's cold out here. And this is an aluminum handle. So the handle is very cold. This is not very comfortable. The classic handle, the plastic overmold is, or those plastic scales, is more comfortable. Now if we look at the frame lock engages 100%. Or you could say like 110%, because the frame lock is like deep in there, basically. As to the general build quality, I got this for 40 bucks, and the blade wobbles a little bit, just a tiny little bit laterally, but also maybe a tiny little bit up and down. Nothing that matters when you actually use the knife. It's just something that tells you, okay, the build quality is not A grade, it's like a B grade maybe. Yeah, the same pretty much is true for the older M16. Also a slight wobble, but this one I can forgive because I did really hard use it. I beat the heck out of it, and you know, you see all the traces and everything. And maybe the wobble comes from that hard use episode. But yeah, the cold steel in Aus 8, so this is the older version, feels of course the most solid with the Triad Lock and everything. It's also the lightest of the three knives, interesting enough, because it doesn't have any scales, any steel or aluminum scales. It just has G10, which is more than solid enough. Has the Triad Lock, and this knife, I must say, by far feels the most comfortable of all those three knives. So of course this is the Triad Lock. The Triad Lock is not a lock that is very quick, let's put it that way. It's a little bit more cumbersome to deploy, but it deploys very safely. Now this is with the secondary lock. It flips nicely. And this, of course, with the frame lock, is really the most EDC friendly knife. It's super flat as well compared to the other ones. So it really fits nicely in your pants. It flips nicely. And of course, when you use this knife, you will find that aluminum handle without plastic overmold or anything like that is just not as comfortable to use. The older version definitely is more comfortable in hand, also because it's thicker, but really the plastic makes a difference here. And then the Recon 1 really beats everything. Now as to the price point of those three knives, the Recon 1, used one, you should get between 50 and 70 bucks depending on where you live. This one still runs about 100 bucks because it has those rescue knife features like the belt cutter and the glass breaker. And this one runs between 40 and 50 bucks. And this is really an amazing deal because it is a super sturdy knife with the frame lock, because it is very EDC friendly in terms of size. It is more than a full-size knife. It's bigger than a Rat 1. It's really in the same ballpark as the Recon 1. but it's really easy to carry that knife, and it's a fast knife, so if you quickly want to cut some boxes or whatever, you deploy it and then you fold it back. So this is a very EDC friendly knife. The Recon one is much more substantial. I would EDC it if I lived in a wilderness area or go to the woods. This is definitely the first choice, also because it is just perfect in terms of ergonomics. So a few words about the build quality. These three knives are not A-grade build quality, not even the Recon one. Even the Recon one has a slight wobble. There's those slight imperfections that you might not get on a Sanremo or Ganso knife these days. I don't know, they pay so much more attention to detail. I mean, those knives are built in Asia, or maybe in Taiwan or so, or maybe in China, but they don't hold up to the same standard in terms of finish, fit and finish, as many of those Chinese manufacturers that are very often cheaper. But those knives, of course, they convince in terms of overall design utility. I mean, they're unbeatable, and for that you can really overlook those smaller imperfections. So again, I'll not do a hard use test on this one today. It has better steel than the older CRKT. It will hold up even better, I think, because the frame lock is more solid than even a liner lock with a secondary lock. And the Recon one is without any doubt anyways. Just one word about the Recon one. I broke off a little part of the tip when it fell on a tile floor, but of course it's AUS 8. And these are tremendous forces, no tip can withstand such abuse, but it's still perfectly serviceable. It's not a problem in terms of function. It's just a beauty mark, so to say, that gives it more character. CRKT 1 hard use anyways. The CRKT 1, the older version, no doubt about it. So just wanted to highlight the new CRKT M16. There are different versions. I like Tanto the best. This is also a cheap alternative maybe to a Recon 1. It's under 50 euro or 50 bucks alternative to a Recon 1. Same size, very similar blade shape, same utility, inferior handling of course, or inferior in the hand, but very similar in overall performance. So if you don't want to shell out like 100 bucks for or 70 bucks for AUS 8 version, or 140 for a S35 VN or whatever, you go with the CRKT. Excellent steel, excellent utility knife. So yeah, so far to those folders. Hope you can get something out of the review. This was Wear and Tear, over and out.